I think for us it's very clear. I mean, these people cannot wait any longer. They have been already through so much Mediterranean and the walk and dying at the hand of the smugglers and the trafficking. You heard the stories of loss and grief. How much more can these people take on? I mean, there needs to be a solution for these people. What Europe wants to do with these people, either they want to accept them with an open heart. There's no other way out from here.
I'll come back to that point in a moment, but the Hungarians hope to finish their razor wire fence by the end of today. What is your reaction to that way of dealing with this crisis?
We have been saying all the way through, a fence, an obstacle in the way of a refugee movement is not the answer. I mean, you don't need a fence to stop the world's most vulnerable. The stories were there, you know. You heard someone being on a wheelchair, walking for days and days. Is this Europe's response to a refugee crisis? We're looking for some humanity over here and dignity. And these kids around me, you know, they have been sitting here for hours and hours. They deserve and need a proper reception and a response.
Are they refugees in your view, or are they economic migrants? Does it make any difference? Does Hungary have any choice? I mean, they're talking about 3,000 people arriving every day to their borders. Do they have any choice as opposed to putting up a fence?
I mean, first, these are human beings. And after that, yes, majority of them are coming from conflict areas. We don't know how else to define refugees. I mean, if you're fleeing for your life and still you're being labeled as a migrant, and as I said, I mean, Hungary doesn't have a choice. No, these people don't have a choice. What else they have left from there where they come from?
Over the weekend, you tweeted your disgust at one of the lines about state television focusing on children or not focusing on children. For any viewers who didn't see your tweet, what were you so concerned about in terms of what the Hungarians were doing?
I mean, what we are looking for as a humanitarian agency, UNHCR, is an understanding why these people flee. And these are women. I mean, these are families and they are desperate. No one else puts the whole family on a rickety, risky boat to die in the Mediterranean. What we are trying to get across is that the world needs to understand their pain, you know, and then someone tells us that, you know, on the state TV, they're not allowed to show the images of refugee children because that will bring more sympathy and empathy towards them. That's what it was all about.
So what is your solution? I mean, you have this tidal wave of people who are coming, despite all the perils that you just went through. What is the solution? Should they just be allowed and accepted in the various countries they arrive at?
Yeah, I mean, as a civilized world, we agreed like decades and centuries ago, people who need international protection should be provided. Why are we questioning that noble tradition and humanitarian laws today? There's a solution. The solution is to help these desperate people. They are victims, you know. Where does Europe want them to go back to? To danger, that's not the answer. And then we need to remind Europe, 300,000, Europe has the resources to take care of them. What about the millions, 4 million Syrians who are in the region? So these are the questions that come up when you hear and listen to all this debate in Europe.
A quick final thought, because Angela Merkel talking about forces of hate being unleashed in her country. The politicians, as they look at this, and they have this extraordinary meeting coming up, there's talk of introducing fingerprinting, there's talk about changing the Schengen rules. I mean, is any of that useful in this scenario as a way forward, in your view?
Whatever brings relief to these people. Look behind me. I mean, you have women and children desperate. Whatever is needed to remove that desperation. We have been saying Europe has a dysfunctional system. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed soon.